Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. Your host is Charlie, the country conservative. Now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. I'm your host, Charlie, the country conservative. Today, we're going to dive deep into some hot button issues that have been making headlines. So buckle up because we're about to dissect the latest events with a conservative lens. First off, today, we're going to start by talking about Columbia University. Some of you might think of an ivory tower of intellectual discourse, but recently it's been anything but peaceful. Violent clashes erupted on campus, leaving Hamilton Hall in a disarray. State police units had to breach the occupied building through a second-story window using a massive truck and a ramp. The result? Nearly 100 arrests. Now, I'm all for free speech, but when it turns into chaos, we've got a problem. Then we're going to get into talking about James Biden. Oh, yes, that's right. The brother of the installed President Joe Biden. In recent testimony in a Kentucky bankruptcy court, revealed that James Biden partnered with Quarter, the Quarter government, or Cortair. I don't remember how to say that, but what the hell? And in his official quest to find money for his U.S. healthcare venture, two companies involved with part owned by members of the Quarter government, and I know I'm saying it wrong, but that's okay. If substantiated, this would be one of the closest known financial links between Biden relative and foreign government that has ties to terrorism. Now, I'm not saying guilt by association, but it's worth raising an eyebrow over. Now, speaking of legal matters, remember when Trump was fined $9,000 for violating a illegal gag order during this hush money trial? The judge warned him that if he does it again, he could end up behind bars. Now, look, I get it. Free speech is crucial, especially for a presidential candidate. But there's a fine line between a corrupt justice system and a real justice system. And the judge has crossed that line. But Trump has to toe the line carefully because this judge has no conscience and it could care less about the law. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dissect these topics from a conservative perspective. As always, I encourage respect and dialogue, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comment sections. Okay, well, on with the show. Okay, everybody, I'm hoping you're having a good Wednesday. So we're going to get going here. So I'd like to, like I do on every episode, ask you guys to go to my Rumble page at the Country Conservative, check out my videos, share them with your friends, your families, and even those liberal friends of yours. They need to learn something. So even share my live videos or my live streams, to get the truth out to people. Give me that thumbs up. Even leave me a comment, be it good or bad. I don't care. Even the bad ones will help me improve my channel. Now, we're streaming live in 6 different platforms, and I think I just added a 7th, and I'm hoping it works, but we'll see. We're streaming live, of course, here on Rumble, which is my main page, but we also got Facebook, X, which is Twitter, you know that, and I got 2 YouTube channels now. That's the one I'm hoping it's actually working. I did one just for the Conservative Viewpoint podcast. And then we have Twitch and we are on locals. And don't forget, I'll put a link up in chat, which I got to do right now here. I'm going to put the link back up in chat. If you guys want to join me, and I'm going to go over here to Twitter and throw it up in here for them too. If you guys want to join me live on my show, feel free to click on that link. And I can't go that one. And I'm going to do Facebook also. If I don't get pulled down again, some little panty waist caught feelings yesterday for some reason. and they took me down off of Facebook. I do not know why, but some little panty must have got his panties in a bunch and took me off. So I wasn't live on there yesterday. But if you got any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave your questions in the comment section or the chat section, and I will get an answer back to you as soon as I can. Without Brendan being here, I don't get to watch everything like I usually do because he'll be sitting there watching it for me. So give me time. If you leave a comment, I will get to it. So first, we're going to get started with Columbia University. Last night, I did come down here around 9:30, and I went live. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in there. I had, for me, that's great, 270 people. It was awesome. And we watched I call it a tragedy because of the brainwashed kids that are supposed to be actually intelligent at Columbia University. And the morning of this, Columbia University suspended the press access to the campus amid all the pro-Palestinian protests. It's pro-Hamas terrorists because Gaza is and always will be controlled by Hamas, and they are terrorists. But they suspend media but until all this breaks off last night. Now, if you want to watch a show, you can go to Twitter. And I believe it's still on Rumble here. Yeah, I think it is. Go back and watch my last night's episode, not the conservative viewpoint one, but the one for Columbia campus. It was interesting seeing all those guys in there. And I think I might have a video here, just a brief one. But I can't believe that idiot place would ban the press from there. And they're okay with these terrorist sympathizers on there doing that. And I also got one, I actually got two videos on Columbia. And the first one, oh, it's unbelievable. But all the excitement last night where I went live, and I told you that. I was on until about 11:30 last night. And then they finally got the crowd settled down. They got the people that took over, the terror sympathizers took over Hamilton Hall, and they supposedly held 3 janitors hostage, according to the janitors. They said that they were refused to leave by the terror sympathizers when they said they wanted to leave. Now, I'm going to let you watch this video, and this guy also heard this from Fox, and he's out there interviewing, and you watch this woman or girl or whatever she is, what she has to say. Now, we'll get back to her as soon as you watch this video. It's about a minute and 19 seconds. Watch this.
Hey, good morning, family. So we're just standing at the gate. They shut down the campus. So we're just trying to, we saw some signs come out earlier today from some of the protests. Let me see if I talk to one. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, good, how are you?
What's your name?
My name's Lillian.
It's nice to meet you. Why are you here today?
I'm here in support of the students, and I think that it's really important that everyone who stands with Palestine and Gaza right now is also standing with these students who are, leading the way in the U.S.
How do you feel about them taking over the building right now?
I think that their cause is a just cause, and I hope that the administration really hears their demands. I think they're just demands.
Do you feel like it was right to hold 3 of the janitor workers hostage inside of the building?
I think that's a really false narrative.
That's what the janitors are saying, that they weren't allowed to leave.
I think that that's a really false narrative.
Even if the janitors are saying that, you're saying that that's not true.
I think that it's a really false narrative that the students took anyone hostage.
How do you feel about some of the Jewish students saying that they don't feel safe here on campus?
I think that this is also a really false narrative that's being promoted.
Do you think October 7th and the attack that happened is a false narrative? Do you believe that some of the women were raped?
My colleague just came back.
So this is what happened.
Can you get out of my face, please?
So
now this person should not even been on the campus. She was not a student there, but she said that she was supporting Hamas, loving these brainwashed kids on campus. And now that was earlier in the day. And you believe the false narrative Everything was a false narrative, and then she's going to get nasty because when a real question comes out, she can't answer it. So now I'm going to let you watch this next video. It's 43 seconds long, and it shows the evening. Now, this was earlier in the day, and this is when I went live, so you'll want to watch this.
And breaking news right now at 11, an imposing NYPD vehicle pulls up to Columbia University as officers arrest demonstrators who had taken over Hamilton Hall and had been refusing to leave. This is the culmination of 2 weeks of protest on campus, all coming to a head tonight. Goons in protective gear and with zip ties entered the campus as a request of the administration. Those protesters loaded onto buses and taken away. All this coming 2 weeks after a protest encampment was put up on the lawn right in the middle of campus, and just last night, protesters took over Hamilton Hall. Tonight, new video just into our newsroom showing police inside that building, going up the stairs and entering rooms. We have team coverage of tonight.
Oopsie. Well, had it on the wrong side, so I didn't see you come back. Now, you don't hear much about this from the Democrats on these protests and riots. And it doesn't this sound like the BLM and Antifa riots that happened a few years back? Now, according to Mike Lawler, Jewish Democrats are quiet on anti-Semitism so they can pander for votes. That is what this is about. That's exactly what it's about. With them, that's what they run on. They run on fear, violence, and destruction. They don't know anything else, because look what they have to run on. Joe Biden, the demented, kid-touching, women-feeling, plagiarizing liar that he is. So how's that working out for him? That's not getting him anywhere, is it? This is what's pathetic about the Democrat Party. And we see it constantly. Now, if we hear more about this tonight, I will go live on there. And I'm looking back here, and Trump must be finished with his rally, and I think he was in Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere like that. I can't remember now. But I will get to it, and I will go live again if something breaks off again. But after all this happened in New York, the protest broke out at UCLA after things calmed down at Columbia University in New York. So we'll see what happens and see if anything happens later tonight or not. Get back up here now. Now we got a bombshell testimony reveals links between James Biden and foreign governments with terror ties. Now, we know that nothing's ever going to happen with this, because by the time the Republicans get off their ass and do anything, hopefully Biden's going to be gone, like out of the White House. But the installed president, Joe Biden's younger brother, Jim, allegedly worked with Qatari, maybe that's how you say it, the Qatari government officials as part of an effort to raise the money, which I said in my opening monologue, for his healthcare ventures in the U.S., according to the bombshell testimony provided by a former business partner and records. Email. I'm sorry, but I can answer this real quick. People don't know how to quit bothering me. But okay, now these were provided by the business partner and records obtained, by Bolsheviko, which otherwise known as Politico. At one point, the younger Biden invoked his older brother's political ties. This is what we call selling the Biden brand. This is part of the influence peddling. This is why the Biden crime syndicate family should be in prison, but nothing seems to be happening. 3.5 years, all this evidence, and nothing's been done about it. So this is why I get a little pissed off of the Republican Party because of that inaction. But Michael Lewitt, a former business partner of Jim Biden, testified that the two companies that facilitated the efforts were partly owned by members of the Qatari government, and they are terrorist government, just like Hamas. One company named in the testimony was directly partnered with Jim Biden, and part of the fundraising efforts to spend several years, the second company provided financial backing for a series of loans that now bankrupt hospital chain paid Jim Biden to arrange, according to documents and testimony provided by Lewis as part of the federal bankruptcy proceedings. Now, the alleged ties are expected to heighten the suspicion surrounding installed President Joe Biden's refusal to label Qatari as the state sponsor of terror, even though they have provided financial support to jihadist groups in the Middle East. There's no different than Hunter Biden being in bed with the Chinese Communist Party. Now, the CEFC tried to, the energy company, which are our enemies, and taking the money from the CCP and not reporting it to the Foreign Agent Registration Act. If he would have registered with Foreign Agent Act, it's not illegal. But the crackhead did not register with that, which is illegal, and he should be in prison for it right now. But yet, because we have a weak Republican Party, he's still walking on the streets. And on top of all this, many other laws that they have broken, but no one's ever held accountable. Doesn't it piss you off seeing that these crimes are committed right in front of your face and nothing ever gets done about it? That's what pisses me off, because they're doing it right in front of our face and they don't care. Because why? The Democrat Party is a lawless party, and there's no other way to say it. I come checking all the chats here real quick, make sure nobody's saying anything. So if you guys got any questions or comments, you also, if you don't see it at the bottom here, and it should come up here in a second. I know that Google Studio was having troubles earlier. There it is. There's my email again. And that handsome little face of mine. You can't go wrong, right? Too bad it didn't have more hair. But there's my email, Conservative Viewpoint. You got questions, comments, or even some suggestions about the show, the way to improve it, more stuff of what you guys want to see, go ahead and email me. And I do take suggestions well, even criticism. Because, you know, I'm a one-man show here without Brendan, and we don't have producers. We don't make money on this stuff. We just do this to give you guys the information and to get the truth out to you guys. That's why we do this, not for any other reason but that. All right. Now we're going to move on to Trump's lawyer drops an explosive bombshell on New York City Letitia James. That's what I like to call her. I know it's Letitia James, but I don't care. She's nasty. That's all that matters. Now, this administration, you know, said she sucks big time. And Joe, and for some reason I put fuck Joe Biden, but I don't know why. But when Joe went, because she said that. But she put FJB. When Trump wins the White House, I hope he sues Letitia James, and Judge Engeron and James needs to go to jail. So does Alvin Braggs and Miss Piggy herself, Fannie Willis. Every one of them needs disbarred, no matter what, because there's this persecution of Donald Trump, and it needs to be stopped. Now, I made this video up here earlier this morning of Trump's attorney and what she has to say on this, and it's a little bit longer because I had to get all this in because it's something you want to see. So watch this.
this was based on facts and what actually happened, my comments would be different. The realisticness of what happens in New York courts when your name is Donald Trump and you're the leading candidate for the GOP is incredibly different. And for people to say that's not the case is just denial of what's actually happened to the American justice system. We have a serious problem. We have a problem where there's a vitriol, there's a Trump derangement syndrome, and it's blinding lawyers, it's blinding jurors, and it's affecting judges. Their Soros backing and political affiliations should have no part in the court, but I've seen time and time again that it does. So, you know, my comment, while the left-wing media would like to take it out of context, it is the truth, which is that President Trump has done absolutely nothing wrong. He should win. And if he's given a fair jury, if he's given a fair court, if he's not in Manhattan, which is a completely blue state where they only polled blue state members of the jury on purpose, well, that's a different game. But to say that, you know, if I said here that I think everything's perfect, well, I'd be completely hypocritical. As I've said for the last 3 years, this is a witch hunt. The president is under siege. The American people are under siege. And if we don't change the judicial system, if we don't get rid of this lawfare in place of politics, the American people are going to suffer 100%. And if you have any doubt about it, I've seen the vitriol happen in the lower courts. I've seen it happen with the Attorney General case. And look what happened there. We had a $475 million insane judgment. We went to the appellate division. They lowered that immediately. And they'll look at the facts and look at the record. We have unfair records. And I want to be clear, that was my point. We have judges not allowing evidence that should be admitted. We have rulings that are not necessarily press-related or worthy rulings, but they affect our cases. We can't bring in evidence that most people would be allowed to bring in. Now, all of those decisions, all of those transcripts are examined closely by the appellate division. And that's what I've always said. These are long game.
Now, I'd like to know who controls the judges. Who can say, and I don't know this answer, I never researched it yet, but who can fire a judge or something like that? If you guys know, let me know in chat, because I'm not sure. Because every one of these people that are trying to persecute Trump, because this needs to stop, and everyone involved, they need prosecuted, because this is nothing but a basic election interference. That's all it is. And the corrupt Judge Merchan, Ingeron, McAfee, you know, in Georgia, along with Letitia James, Alvin Braggs, and Fannie Willis, they all need disbarred, no matter what. Let me know what you guys think in chat. Do you think they need disbarred, or should they just leave it alone and let it ride out like this? This is a persecution. It's a total election interference. Trump can't get a fair trial in New York. Not at all. Because they're nothing but liberal idiots. And with this Judge Merchan, the corrupt piece of shit that he is, he fined Donald Trump $1,000 for 9 counts of violating a gag order. So he has to pay $1,000 for each one of these charges, for contempt charges. Now, this is so unconstitutional. The gag order alone is unconstitutional and unbelievable. So he has to pay $9,000 in contempt for court, and then the judge threatened him with jail time if he does it again. Now, this worthless ass judge should have recused himself, because his daughter is making money, a shit ton of money, off of this court hearing, and giving the money to Joe Biden and his campaign and the Democrat Party. She's made millions. I talked about this on one of my other episodes before, a few back. But if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. Now, I got another video for you. It's about a minute, 10 seconds long, about Trump being fined. So I want you to take a look at this. Let me find it here. There it is.
Hey, Willie, we're just making our way through the order that was just issued by Judge Merchan. This was first brought to the district by the district attorney's office to Judge Merchan, alleging that Donald Trump should be held in contempt for violating 10 different times the gag order that was placed on him, prohibiting him from attacking potential witnesses as part of this criminal proceeding, as well as the jury. And what Judge Merchan has decided is that that 9 of the 10 instances from social media posts of Donald Trump, he did in fact violate the gag order and is held in contempt. Charged $1,000 or fined $1,000 for each of those posts. He says in part that this was willful violation by Donald Trump. And he noted that several of these instances were reposts on his True Social account. And Donald Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, had suggested that that did not, in fact, mean that Donald Trump was the one making the statement. But as part of this order, Judge Merchan said that whether he added any extra commentary or not, a repost does violate this gag order because it is a form of speech by the defendant, Donald Trump himself.
Now, you know how hard that was for me to use that clip from MSNBC, one of the biggest idiot, fake, lame news media out there. So that was tough for me to do too. So, but of course, Trump's argued that the gag order violates his free speech rights, and it does. And his lawyer, Todd Blanche, told Merchant last week that the statements at issue were a response to political attacks. And that the problem I have with this is people are allowed to attack him, but he's not supposed to say anything or defend himself. And I'm sick and tired of these liberal little bitches crying because they get their feelings hurt over a mean tweet. So if you don't like them, then don't go on social media. Go back to your basement, sucking your thumb and your crayons, and just stay there. Because that gets on my nerves that they're doing this constantly. And they whine and they cry and they bitch. And then this, all these judges are getting away with this, and nobody's saying a word to them. No, and you can go on to any talk show with Fox or anybody, and you have a real upstanding attorneys or something. They'll tell you what a sham every one of these are. Now, there's a chance, and I was watching Judicial Watch today, and saying that seems to him that they're leaning toward, and I don't know if I have it on here, but the Supreme Court is leaning Trump's way. So he's saying that's a good thing. But then, of course, you had your couple liberal Democrats up there that were trying to go the liberal way and lie and try to turn it around. But I don't have it on here right now, but I wasn't going to bring it up. I'll have to look for it for tomorrow's episode. But it was on there on Judicial Watch today, and I was listening to him. It was about a half hour or so long. But it sounds really positive about this, and hopefully it's going to work, and it will change the outcome of almost every one of these hearings and trials and stuff. So we need to get this done, that's for sure. Now we're going to go to an issue which I definitely don't agree with, but I do like her, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now we're going to take a look at the Democrats' chosen speaker. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene signals that she will advance a bid to oust Speaker Johnson next week. Now, I don't agree with her on this, but I am going to let you watch this short video. It's only about a minute long. I don't agree with her on this. I don't think we can afford this, but we'll talk about this after you watch this.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene all bluster?
Yeah, this is a threat until it's not. And she does have a motion to vacate that's been filed. So it's something that she could trigger if she wants to. Speaker Johnson has basically called her bluff and said, do it. Yeah. You know, go ahead and try it. Let's see what happens.
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene ruined it for herself. I mean, she simply hasn't looked at the reality that Republicans have a very, very slim margin of control in the House, and getting anything done depends on working across the aisle. And so, you know, but the reality is this is not a legislator either. I mean, she is not interested in legislating and governing. She is interested in getting on TV, making, you know, TikToks and fundraising. And that's what she's doing. And we're seeing the ramifications of that. And I do think the Democrats will and should save Mike Johnson. I'm just not sure how that really helps Mike Johnson in the end. But I do think Hakeem Jeffries will probably decide to be there to support the speaker, because you shouldn't take somebody down because they did the right.
Well, now, if you heard her right, they said that why is that spelled? They said that the Democrats said that they would save Johnson. They're just doing that to push her buttons and to get her to do this, to get her to file it, because they want Hakeem Jeffries, that freaking piece of shit that he is. They want him in there as speaker, and that's exactly what's going to happen if she files this. Because now I don't agree with her at all on this. I do not agree at all. Now, Johnson is not doing what he said he would do when he first took the gavel. And I do have a problem with that. But we cannot afford to lose this House right now. And if she does this and continues on this path, we could lose the House. The Democrats would take over. Hakeem Jeffries, that would be speaker. And if that happens, we are screwed, especially before November. If she waits until after November, then she can do it. Once we know we control the House and the Senate and everything, hopefully we'll stop and wait until after November. Now, let me know what you guys think in chat. Do you think that they should oust Johnson now as speaker, or wait till after November? You guys let me know what you guys think, because I know that Donald Trump said that he wants to keep Johnson in as speaker. So I'm hoping, and he said this a week or so ago, so I'm hoping that she's going to listen and not file this next week and bring up a motion to vote, because it'll pass and we're screwed. So let me know what you guys think on this. So, and again, I want to ask you guys, don't forget to go to my Rumble page, Country Conservative. Give me them thumbs up. Follow me. If you keep me, I keep looking down because I have the monitor up or watching myself on all the chats and everything on here. So it's that's why I keep looking down and not into the camera. So I keep doing that. So making sure make sure nobody leaves comments and stuff, because some of them I can't see when they do it. So I want to make sure everything's going good. Now, what the heck? Oops. Oops. I got to shut the volume off. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. I don't know how the volume got on, but there we go. Okay. Now we're going to get into this one's a good one. Now, the GOP-led states have banned some of the DOJ's election monitors from polling sites in 2024 elections. Now, the federal interference in elections, and they will not be inviting to DOJ to send election monitors to Louisiana, said Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry, because they send people there, and you know what happens when the Democrats get involved with elections. So when the DOJ announced that they was sending election monitors to the polling sites in multiple states for the 2022 midterm elections, Florida and Missouri said that the department's employees would not be permitted to observe the polls. Now, 8 other states have said that they will also not allow DOJ election monitors to enter their polling sites during the election this year, with some saying that banning them prevents federal interference in elections. Now, I agree with that. And I don't think the Democrats or definitely the corrupt DOJ needs to be sending their monitors, because you know what happens when that happens. People stop everything. And I have that in here too. But now, the day before Election Day in November of 2022, the DOJ announced that it was sending election monitors to 64 jurisdictions in 24 states. That was more than what they previously said that they were going to do. Now, the DOJ increased the number of jurisdictions it was monitoring from 44 in 18 states. So that was during the 2020 election. Now, doesn't that sound a little funny? Especially when a lot of these states stopped counting ballots after a certain time, and I think it was 11:30 or something like that. One of them was at like 9:30, when Trump was up by a lot. You know, he was up by so many votes, I couldn't believe it. So I just shut off the TV, went to bed, wake up the next morning and find Trump had lost. So funny how that works when Democrats are involved, don't you think? Does to me. So this is why we've been talking about for another reason why we have to get involved in this election. That's why we're doing these videos. That's why I do this every day now, and making sure everybody gets out to vote, because we cannot trust the Democrats. Not from cheating again in another election. And I'm sick and tired of people saying that there was no election fraud, because they've showed time and time again that there was, but all these judges are cowards and won't take up the cases so people can show the proof. They just blow it off. But I'm sick and tired of these liberals that say the election wasn't stolen when in fact we know it was. But the judges don't have balls enough to take up the case so people can actually show the proof and show the rigged election. Oh my, okay, here we go. Now we're going to keep up with the election thing here. And a judge rules in Tennessee that voter registration form violates federal law. Now, ahead of several important elections this year, a federal judge rendered this week that the form that Tennessee uses to register voters violates the federal law. The issue comes down to convicted felons. Now, most states, no felons are allowed to vote, but some of them do have a right to vote. In Tennessee, some people convicted of felon are not allowed to vote, but that's not the case for all convicted felons. But still, some of them have the right to vote. Now, I got this little video here. It's only 47 seconds long about the voter registration law. So take a look at this.
An update now to a lawsuit stemming from high-profile arrests like these here of felons who said they thought they'd regain their right to vote here in Florida. Well, a federal judge has tossed out a challenge that was brought by voting rights advocates. They were arguing the state's voter registration form is not clear enough about the eligibility requirements for felons. Now, this goes back to 2018 when voters approved a constitutional amendment that restored voting rights for most felons after they've served their sentence. Then lawmakers came in, they added more requirements that felons must also pay all legal financial obligations like restitution, fines, and fees before they can actually get that right back. Critics say that created a lot of confusion around eligibility, but the judge ruled the federal law advocates said was being violated does not actually require registration forms to have that kind of detailed explanation.
Now, their previous version of the state form said, in part, to register, you must not have been convicted of a felony, even though the state does allow some to vote, depending on what their crime was, what their convicted crime was. Now, the state's current form goes even further, directing people to a website, a phone number for more information, but a federal judge says that's still not enough. The judge says it should be clear on the form which people convicted of felonies in the past can and cannot vote. The judge says, but it isn't clear as the result, prospective voters would be deterred from registering to vote. So we're going to see what happens with that too. There's always something with when it gets closer to election time with states trying to cheat or changing laws. Just like in Pennsylvania, they did it in 2020, a day before, and the governor took it upon himself to do it without approval from the House, which in the Pennsylvania law, they have to get approval. They did not do that. Now, I can't go without talking about the border. So Trump vows to use military to deport illegal immigrants. I'm all in for this. Give me a bus. I'll go round them up and get them the hell out of here. But President Trump vowed to use the National Guard or other military troops to deport millions of illegal immigrants, or criminals, as I say, if he is elected for another term in White House. Trump, in an exclusive interview with Time magazine, adjusted how he would come back and get this migrant crisis that has escalated to record numbers of border crossings under this installed President Joe Biden. Trump said he would be willing to build a migrant detention camps. He also plans to resume construction of the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border and re-implement policies such as Remain in Mexico and Title 42. Now, we all know that Joe Biden did away with all these on day 1 and 2 when he signed all these executive orders that he probably didn't even know what he was signing. He was just signing blank pages. If you watched him sign these stupid things, and I don't know why the hell I was stupid enough to watch them, but he sat there and he just signed. He opened the book. You could see there was no writing on those pages. And he just scribbled his John Hancock in there and signed whatever. And I don't even think it mattered. They just said, okay, we'll sign this. But all these executive orders just did away with everything. This is more of a reason. What more of a reason do you need to get out and vote come November and get Donald Trump back in office? We've got almost 15 million illegal criminals. If that's not enough of a reason, how about high inflation, high gas prices, high food prices, high taxes, less money in your paychecks? And I can go on and on, because with this Biden administration's failures, it's causing the U.S. to be turned into a third world country. And we have to put a stop to this come November. If you guys don't agree with me, you can always leave it in the chat or leave a comment if you don't agree with it. But everything I said is a fact. It's all true, and there's no one that can deny it, except if you're a brain dead liberal, and they will deny it. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. They don't really care. They just think they're right all the time, and they just are idiots, and they make themselves look like idiots. Now we have somebody with a set of balls, and no, I'm not talking about Michelle Obama, that's willing to stand up to the mental illness of trans people. But it's definitely not in the United States. Not yet, anyways. Now, the UK's National Health Services declare a sex is a biological fact, a major shift from the gender ideology. Now, the NHS, one of the United Kingdom's 4 major healthcare systems, is set to declare that the sex, excuse me a second, that sex is a biological fact, marketing a landmark shift against gender ideology. Now, I got this short video, it's only about a minute long, at Ukraine taking on the trans mental illness. And this is what I like about them. Watch this.
Want is privacy and dignity. What they want is their healthcare records to be clear and accurate, even for trans people, even for people who say they're non-binary. Their doctors still need to know whether they're male or female, and that needs to be recorded clearly. And people like Matthew Taylor of the NHS Confederation are calling this a culture war. It's not a culture war.
It's a fact war. It's a fact war, and we're on the side of facts. Yeah. I am so fed up, and I'm sure you are, as someone who lost your job just for stating biological fact. You know, no hatred, no transphobia, it's biological fact. And thankfully won your case on appeal. That we're accused of a culture war. We didn't start this. We were just getting on with our lives. You had a job, I had a job, we got on with it. And then suddenly people started saying that, well, you know, you're a subset of women. You know, and you don't actually have the rights to the sort of safe spaces and the private spaces, which are, you know, our mums will have fought for us to have. We didn't start this war.
Now, that was a short video that I got, but obviously they did not review their video before they posted it. So they kind of might want to do that when they cut off both people in the video. And obviously I did not watch it all because I didn't notice that until just now too. So, but the proposed change to the NHS constitution will, for the first time, ban trans women and women only, and give women the right to request a female doctor for intimate care. Now, the NHS constitution is a document intended to set out the principles and values of the health services and legal rights for patients and staff. women's rights advocates welcome to change following years of accusations that the health services has been captured by gender ideology. Now, the United States needs to take some advice from the UK. It actually helped these mental patients get the help that they need. You don't wake up one day and just pretend that you're something you're not. Like it or not, if you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. And you don't like it, I don't give a shit. But now, I said that they're not in the United States, right? Well, Louisiana and Texas AGs announced a lawsuit against the Biden administration over Title IX rule. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to let you watch this video. It's about a minute 32 seconds of them suing the Biden administration over this rule. Take a look at this.
Attorney General Liz Murrill says that this new rule from the Biden administration guts Title IX, but advocates say that it just offers protections for transgender students. The new rule mandates that schools provide protections against discrimination to include issues related to gender identity. Teachers would have to use a student's preferred name and pronouns, and students would also be allowed to use locker rooms and bathrooms that align with their identity. The lawsuit says it is discriminatory against biological women.
Do not comply.
State Superintendent Kay Brumley says it's a government overreach. Murrill said that it is wrong that the over $2 billion in federal money that the state receives could be at risk for not wanting to follow the rule. Advocates for transgender youth say that they are a vulnerable population who needs these protections.
We know that this is affecting students negatively. It is increasing all of the negative statistics, increasing suicidality.
When asked about the challenges that transgender students face, Murrill said that it could be addressed, but her priority is protecting biological women.
I don't think that means that we have to deny what the effect of this rule is for biological women and on Title IX. I mean, it's just apples and oranges.
She would not offer instances when a transgender student posed a threat to another student, claiming that she was told stories in confidence. Louisiana is joining 3 other states in this lawsuit, and they expect more school boards across the country to join in. At the Capitol for your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
Now, Louisiana's AG, that was scary. I saw a couple of them in there too. But now their AG says that the Biden administration's final rule will gut the very essence of Title IX and destroy decades of advances in equal educational opportunities, especially for women and girls, real women and girls. Now, if you think there's another gender other than men and women, this is definitely not the show for you, because there is only 2 genders. Men and women, period. You don't like it, get the hell out. Now, it's about time somebody stands up in the U.S. for this. And today what are they announcing? That they have officially filed a lawsuit against and I think it's Texas, filed a lawsuit against the United States Department of Education to save Title IX and protect the myriad of interests threatened by the new regulations. Murrill also said that the consequences will be shocking and severe. Boys and girls will be forced to share bathrooms, locker rooms, and perhaps even overnight field trips with members of the opposite sex. Now, meanwhile, Paxton, now that was Louisiana. Now, Paxton's office, Paxton is the Attorney General for Texas. His office argued that the new regulations violates existing federal law and ignores the Constitution and denies women the protection that Title IX was intended to afford to them. Texas will not allow Joe Biden to rewrite Title IX just on a whim, destroying legal protections for women in the furtherance of his radical obsession with gender ideology. Now, I don't think it's an obsession with gender ideology. I think it's for votes. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe this is all for votes. Transgender is nothing but a mental illness. What he should be doing is getting them help. And that is exactly what they need. But they want votes. So just like the Columbia University and all the anti-Semitism and stuff that's going on there, they will not come out and say anything about it. Why? Because the votes. everything that this Biden administration does, especially from now until November, is about votes. That's all it's about. And they're trying to get votes, but they're actually pissing people off, because I saw some videos on here today that the kids will not vote, even though they're idiot terrorist sympathizers in DC and California and all them. They will not vote for Biden, is what they're saying. Now that we still got a little ways to November to see what happens, but we'll see what happens, because I don't trust them. But remember, everything that's going on right now, the Democrats and Biden, is for votes. That's all it is. The persecution of Donald Trump, for votes. Everything's about votes. Election interference. That's all it's about. Now, the last thing on my agenda tonight is the feds warn employers. Get this: employers can be punished for failing to use preferred transgender pronouns. Are you kidding me? I'll be damned if I see a dude dressed as a woman. He's still going to be called a dude. You don't like it? Go ahead, take a swing on me. I dare you. Now, the EEOC's landmark new regulatory guidance elevates gender identity as a protected class under discrimination law like race, sex, and religion. This is what the problem is with this country right now. In a landmark guidance, the Federal Commission created the right to fight racial and sexual discrimination, declared on Monday that employers that fail to use a worker's preferred pronouns or refuse them the chance to use the restroom of their choice will be engaging in prohibited harassment. Are you serious? If anybody agrees with this, please get the hell out of here. This is ridiculous. It's the only thing this is the Democrats looking for votes. Nothing else, because they know they are losing their asses in this election. These people do not care about getting these mentally ill trans help, or anyone in the United States help that needs it. And we have a lot of people on the streets that need the help. If you don't see it, because just with these illegal criminals that are here, they're treating them better than our own homeless vets and everybody that's homeless on the streets now, or before the illegals came over here, but they're treating them better than our own people. As long as they get the votes, they don't give a shit if you're homeless, mentally ill, on drugs, or anything, as long as you vote for them. And they keep them in the corrupt power that they have now. They don't care about you or I, not at all. That is what's wrong with this country. When mental illness takes over and the Democrats do nothing about it, it should show you that they don't care about the American people, because that's why they love these illegal criminals, because the majority of them are mental patients from the mental hospitals that they emptied out from other countries and sent them here. Because these people are easily manipulated, because when they see that little bit of money and stuff that that they're giving them and that they've never seen before from wherever the hell they came from, that's all they have to do to manipulate these people and try to get them to vote. And that's what this is about. They're trying to pass fast citizenship for these criminals. And the majority of them are criminals. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get them citizenship so they can vote. But they're placing these people strategically in Democrat-run cities because it gives them more spots for more representatives. That's what is going on here. And you just pay attention to what they're doing. But some of the places, like the county that I live in, Pennsylvania, found out that they get money from the government for taking illegals. Oh yeah, even our Republican-run county is taking money. That's why I found out the other day that they will not make us a non-sanctuary city or county for these illegal criminals. So that kind of gets on my nerves too. So let me know what you guys think wherever you guys live. Is your county or city or wherever you're at, are they a sanctuary city? You can let me know in chat or just leave a comment later. Whatever. But that's kind of a wrap for tonight. So that's all I have for you today. So please, again, check on my Rumble page at the Country Conservative. Give me the thumbs up. Please follow me. Check out my videos. Share them with your friends and your family. The liberals, too. You got to get it out to liberals. I like pissing people off. But we got to get the truth out to people before November 5th because it's coming up quick on us. We have to get this country back. We got to get the Democrats out of power at the state, local, and federal level. I say this on every one of my streams, my videos, everything. They can control nothing. But I do want to thank you for watching the Conservative Viewpoint. And remember, my fellow conservatives, as we navigate the turbulent waters of today's political landscape, let us stand firm in our convictions, raise our voices, and champion the values that have shaped our great nation. From the heartland to the halls of power, we are the torchbearers of the tradition, liberty, and responsibility. So until tomorrow, again, 7 p.m., join me for another great episode of the Conservative Viewpoint. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep the conservative flame burning bright. So until tomorrow night, good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.